respect of your time. I would like to welcome you to our GoToMeeting judge training for the 2016 Wisconsin Engineering Design Competition. I am Patricia Dibert, and I just want to personally thank you for returning as a judge in our competition for high school students across the state of Wisconsin. The competition is open to all biomedical innovation and engineering design and development students in the state of Wisconsin who are currently enrolled in one of the capstone courses. The impetus behind this competition is to give students the opportunity to move yet another high school project from a box in the attic to an opportunity to have their work reviewed by a panel of experts, and the possibility of a feasibility study to be completed on their portfolio to determine the marketability of their design competition. Excuse me. This competition has been generously financed by Rockwell Automation and supported by the Small Business Development Center and Wisconsin Innovation Service Center housed at UW-Whitewater under the leadership of Mr. Ron Bud Gayhart. Milwaukee School of Engineering has provided time in my schedule to orchestrate the administrative support needed to offer this competition to our PLTW network. This year we have over 140 students registered representing 24 schools. That translates into a potential of approximately 50 portfolios. We currently have 57 judges. For your information, today's training will be recorded and made available on YouTube for future reference. I will send the link out to you later today. With us today, we have Mr. Elliot Mork from the Lead the Way National Office. Elliot will walk us through the scoring rubric, which is embedded in the Innovation Portal where students have submitted their portfolios. The judging window is June 8th through July 15th. I would ask that you judge the portfolios based on how well a team has completed the elements of the rubric, not on the idea or problem. How well students can document the design process of their problem solution is what I'm asking you to judge. Connected to your evaluation of how well a team has documented their work is scholarship money, as well as the opportunity for a feasibility study by the Wisconsin Innovation Center. The competition is based on documentation, not idea. This reflects how well the student team understands the documentation process. Upon completion of your work, I will tabulate the results and personally contact the top teams. This year, we will be recognizing our winners at a special ceremony on August 3rd. Again, thank you for volunteering your time. Without further ado, let me turn control over to Elliot.
Thank you, Patricia. We're a pretty small group today. I think it was Emily and Kimberly are on the line. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, great. And can you see my screen as well?
Yep.
All right. So we have a judge training session that's designed for new judges to kind of show them the process and walk through and introduce them to the rubric and how to really get valid scores that are consistent among judges. But you two have judged previously, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. I think that was one.
This is Emily. Yes, I have.
Both. Okay, great. So we're gonna go pretty quickly through some things. I want to give you there's two minor things that will be a little bit different from last year, and I want to highlight those two things. And then I also want to give you a quick run through. But at any time, normally I give you some mute instructions about how to ask questions in the chat. But for such a small group, just feel free to jump in and ask any questions, especially if you want clarification on one specific topic, or just let me know if I'm covering something that you're very familiar with already. But I want to show you a few things on the Innovation Portal that will be a little bit different. Just to reiterate, the judging will be due on July 15th, so you have I think about 4 weeks to get that judging done. So you have a good window to get done. I think somewhere between 3 and 5 portfolios, depending on how many portfolios finally come in. Student submission date will be, I think it's June, just before you'll get the portfolios, and you'll get the portfolios about June 8th or June 7th. So a little bit of time for the students to finish up, and then you'll have about 4 weeks to do that judging. Everything is going to be recorded here, and the previous sessions were recorded. So if there's any one specific feature on the Innovation Portal or question you have, you can go in and even visit this same session to rewind to a certain point to see how to do that one thing to log in. These are some slides that you should that cover something that you should have already done, is get connected to the competition. Are you both connected to the 2016 competition already as judges?
I believe so. I followed the instructions that Patricia had sent out earlier this spring.
Okay. Great.
Yes, they are both connected.
Great. So, well, one of the weird things that could have happened if you got an email and then clicked that link twice, you'd get a 404 error. So that's just, you usually like to cover that. But if you click it and get a 404 error, that means you're already connected, because it's a one-time use link to do that invitation. But you're already in there, so it looks good. The only thing I'd caution you about is make sure that you're in the 2016, not the 2015, because you judged last year. I mess that up once in a while and make changes. So just don't be reviewing last year's portfolios. Make sure that you're in the 2016 competition. This is a little bit of a review of how the competition structure actually works and how students submit into the competition. Just a reminder that the portfolios are distributed randomly, so there's not really any specific reason why you get 1 or 2. You could get the top 3 quality portfolios or the bottom 3, so there's kind of a random mix, whatever you get assigned to do it's a random assignment system from the Innovation Portal. Students use it to create portfolios. They can submit to other competitions as well. I don't know if you're too aware of the Innovation Portal, but there's competitions that run. There's an international competition, and then there's quite a few state-level competitions. Wisconsin being one of the earliest and one of the largest competitions, but there's some other ones that happen as well. You might not see all of them on the Innovation Portal because the Wisconsin one goes a little bit later in the season, so other ones are already complete. So with that, let me go ahead and go into the Innovation Portal. If you can see my screen, when you log in, you have a left-hand menu bar. You're immediately logged into the My Portfolios page. You may have a portfolio if you created one, but by default, the judges don't. So you might have a screen that looks different, and I have 46 portfolios just because I use it for a lot of training purposes. But you may have a screen that says you have no portfolios. Would you like to do something else? Kind of an orange splash screen here. I want to call your attention to My Notifications. Those invitations that you accepted to be a judge, you could have clicked on the email, or you could have come into here and opened up the notification from Patricia and then accepted within here. When you get the reviews assignments on June 7th or 8th, when we send those out, you'll get a notification that looks like this. You've been assigned to review the submission, and then the name of the submission for an opportunity, and instead of training example, it'll be the Wisconsin Engineering Design Competition. One place you can look for those notifications. You should also receive email push notifications, and I think Patricia is also going to send a separate overall email just to let you know that it's time to log in and start judging. So that's the notifications tab. If you click opportunities, this is the best way to find the reviews that you're assigned to. That issue with the 2016 or 2015, this is the way to not get confused on that. The 2016 Wisconsin competition is currently in the current phase. That's because students are still working on it right now as we speak. Once it's time for you to judge submissions, it'll live in this past button. So we'll have to go into this. You'll have to click this past button to find the competition to judge for. And then there's also a Minnesota competition here. Only 2 of them live right now, just because we're nearing the end of the spring season for competitions. So if we click past, and again the 2016 competition will be here, we can see all the competitions that have ended in this prior year since the last year. So the 2015 Wisconsin competition lives here right now. Once the 2016 comes into here, the 2015 will be removed, and you won't be able to find it. So you should be able to find the 2016 design competition here. For the purposes of training today, we're going to click this training example and go into this. One way to verify you're a judge, which I think you, well, one way is to ask Patricia, and she said you are, but another way you could do it is to look at the competition, and if you have this blue bar on top, that means you have special access to the competition and you're a judge. The way to look at reviews is to click this reviews button here. And then once this loads, you'll see all the reviews assigned to you. So if you click that right now, you'll have 0 of 0. But I have 16 of 21, and what that means, I just have, I've completed 16 trainings this spring to train some judges up to do this evaluation, and we have a few more to go here, so I have 21. You'll be receiving a lower number, somewhere between 3 and 5, but right now you have 0. Each portfolio has a status, either complete or active. The complete ones mean you have completed the review, not that the students have completed, but you have finished grading it and submitted the scores in. If you scroll down, let's look for an active one. Here's one, CREO, or C-R-E-O. So this one is active and we can judge it. We can submit scores for this. So if we click this, we can actually view the student content. Once we click into a portfolio and are viewing it, we can scroll with the scroll bar on the right, or we can, if you have a wheel on your mouse, and that's what I'm doing right now. We start on the portfolio cover page, but there's no content to evaluate on this portfolio cover page. It's all in these sections here, and it's kind of like the 3-ring binder with tabs along the side. The portfolio cover page is the plastic insert on the front, and then you have the content loaded and inside the 3-ring binder with tabs to show you how it's organized. So if we go into the first one, A, this is the first thing that may be a little bit different, or I want to at least call out, is that the way to score the portfolios is not to click these buttons here. And I think you're, yeah, not to click these buttons here. This is to view the rubric. So the rubric was created by rubric experts and engineering educators that to make it linear, 0 through 5, so the distance between each score should be about the same. Should be exactly the same, but it's about the same. So the difference between a 0 and 1 and a 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5 should be the same. You don't need to hit all the criteria for example, a 3 to get a score of 3. The description text here describes what a 3 is, but it's kind of like a staircase, but kind of not, because if you look at 2, if the student work meets all the requirements for a 2, but doesn't quite hit a 3, the score could be a 2 or a 3, depending on which is closer. And that's kind of the hard part as a judge, to really get down into the details of the rubric and figure out what the scores should be for each student section. So you're going to, if it's between a 2 and a 3, you decide what is closest to. So it doesn't have to meet all the criteria for a 3 to hit that 3. It just has to be closer to a 3 than a 2. And then the other thing I want to point out is that a 5 is not a perfect portfolio, but a 5 is the description of this text here. And students have had access to this, and so hopefully they've paid attention to it and tried to meet that 5. If there's ever a blank element, go ahead and just submit a score of 0. That's what that is if it's blank, if it's not done. Even if it's not blank, it could receive a 0. And one thing I want to show you here that definitely is new from last year, because I think we implemented it after the competition really got going, but the scored element examples are very well fleshed out now in the rubric. So almost every element and almost every score has a scored example of student work. So direct your attention up to the left-hand part of my screen, upper left part of my screen as I click this. This PDF document may download, may open in a new tab, and you may jump to the tab, or it may just open the tab and you not jump to it. But either way, we still have the student work over here in this tab right here. So this is a scored element example, which means those engineering education professionals and researchers that created this whole rubric also evaluated some sample student work and came to consensus on some examples for what scores are. So for element A, score 3, they came to consensus that this should receive a score of 3 in element A. And we have a commentary of why they scored it a 3. So the first text says, this received a score of 3, but some people thought it was a score of 4. So it's actually kind of a high 3 or a low 4. and then it goes into the goes into their thinking about why it receives that score. You have the full rubric summary here, all 5 components and 14 elements, and then every single score for every single number here, and with a 3 highlighted. And then you have the actual student work. If we scroll down, we have a printout of the portfolio for element A that received the score. So pretty powerful tool for you to decide to really dig into the rubric and assign the score to the student work that the score they should receive. And it's really powerful too because on a virtual platform, you don't have the opportunity to walk around and look at all the ones that you're not assigned to kind of establish that baseline for what the quality of work that should be. So these resources and these examples are there to establish that baseline for you, to show you what a 3 looks like and what a 4 looks like and what a 5 looks like for each example. So pretty nice tool for a judge. The hard part for doing a competition like this is making sure all the judges have consistent scoring and consistent criteria that they're using, and so that's why you have so much material at your fingertips to help you do that job. So if we click back over, and again, if we click this 3, we're not submitting a score of 3, and our score sheet's hidden. We have to move our mouse to the left to close that right-hand bar, and then this little blue icon in the bottom is where we actually put the score. That score, so we thought it was a 3, we can click the 3. We can also look at the rubric with that little plus button, and then it gets a little crowded, so we can close that. Comments can go into here. A quick comment on comments. There's a couple different things that comments are used for. First is that it could potentially go to students and teachers, and that's kind of at the discretion of the competition administrator. And what we typically see are competition administrators providing comments to teachers who then can make the decision whether it's a constructive thing to give those to students for feedback. Some students are kind of complete with the project and some still have some work to do on it, and so we leave that up to the teachers normally to decide what to provide. Another way that your comments may be used are in the case of tiebreakers. So in the competition, the scores can get pretty close sometimes, and so the competition administrator can dig into the comments to see what comments that judges put in there to either push it up or drag it down a little bit as a tiebreaker. The third use that your comments can be used for is there's some those engineering educators and researchers, there's current ongoing research to determine how close or how agreeable judges are and when doing this evaluation. So they're looking at the training resources, language of the rubric, and provided to judges, and then how consistent judges are in evaluating the same student work. And so they'll look at your comments to determine what you're focusing on in the rubric. Like if there's a couple different components inside one element, if your comment addresses one, then they'll know that that's why you gave a high score, a low score, and they'll use that in their research to evaluate the rubric that is provided to you. So those are the 3 ways your comments can be used. We can close that. Everything is saved automatically, so we don't need to click. There's no save button. If we just close it, then it's saved. We're going to do that for each element. Going down the list, we can submit a score and a comment. And we don't need to do that for everyone here. One thing I want to point out too, I did mention that if there's blank content, submit a score of 0. The exception to that is element M and N. These 2 elements, they also don't have scored element examples because they're holistic elements to the entire portfolio. M is about the presentation for all other elements, A through L, and then N is about the writing quality, writing like an engineer. And so there's no specific content. This is just an evaluation metric for the rest of the content in the entire portfolio as a whole. So no content, and it could be a score of 0, but if there's no content, that doesn't mean there's necessarily a score of 0. So any questions on that, the scoring, doing the rubric, opening up the score sheet? Any questions there?
Nope.
Okay. And some of this stuff may look familiar, but sometimes we have judges that open this up and then can't find the score sheet, so I want to make sure to address that. The last step is to complete review. This is your last chance to change anything, because once you click this button down here, it'll finalize all your scores and send them off to Patricia so she can tally them up in the competition. we did 2 scores that are highlighted here. If there's any question marks, that means you haven't loaded a score. So that is a cue for you to go back and make sure that score is loaded at this point. We have our comments, and then if we don't have comments, it just says there are no comments for this element review here. So all these should have a score, and then once you verify they have a score and they're where you want it, you can click I understand and then complete review. One thing that I think we heard from judges last year in this competition, so it may have been you to giving advice that we're passing on maybe to you again, or other judges, we've been saying this, is that to judge all of the portfolios before completing the first one, just so you have the capability of going back and altering scores and kind of tweaking things a little bit. Having scores for all of them and then going and completing all of them all at the same time, hitting this button kind of at the end, right before the deadline of July 15th, but after you've had a chance to take a look at all the content. So once we've committed, we can click complete review, and that sends the score off to the competition to be tallied up with all the other ones. And then this is one thing that's going to be different for you as a judge, a second-year judge. So on the left-hand sidebar, we're in My Reviews. This includes all reviews that you've done in all competitions and any reviews you've done as a mentor that students have asked you to do directly. So if you acted as a mentor and a group has asked you to review their work and to improve it before the competition, the reviews will show up here as well. So I have a bunch of reviews. You will have reviews from last year as well. So try if you use this, make sure you know what year or which ones you're doing, because you could have reviews from multiple competitions and multiple different people. Our review that we just did was Creo here, CREO, and we have the tag of complete, and we have current active ones here. So if we knew that this was in the competition, we could just click this to start evaluating the next one. However, I'm pretty sure I don't even know which ones are which for which competition, because this account has several different reviews attached to it. So what I like to do is go back to the back to opportunities, into the competition, and remember we got to click that past button. It's here now in current, but we will have to click past, and then finding the competition training example again, and then clicking reviews. And it's a little bit more clicks, but then I know for sure that the reviews are associated with this competition here. So we have 17 instead of 16 completed reviews, and still have a few more to do. So we can scroll down to find another one that we have to complete, and click into that here. Oh, I forgot to mention, in My Reviews, you can view stuff from last year as well. So if you kept the same account, so let's go into this one, Reach a Tool. Maybe this is a review that we did last year. You can click Review Summary and view all the scoring that you did for the competition last year. So that's kind of a neat thing. All of your scores for every competition is maintained, and you have a copy of that. You even have a copy of the student work. But if we click into an element like element B, we don't have that scoring button in the bottom right. So that's, if you can't find that scoring button, that might mean that you clicked an old review that you've already completed, and not a current one that you need to do still. So I think that's the last thing I want to show you. Patricia, if you have any closing remarks. The last thing I want to say is that just thank you for doing this again. We don't get very many opportunities at being a virtual competition to say thank you, but thank you for your time. You're enabling a lot of quality student recognition to get their work outside of classrooms and really get it recognized on a state platform and evaluated by professionals like yourself. So just thank you for the work that you do to enable that.
Yeah, quite welcome.
I want to say thank you to Emily and to Kim for both returning. I think, Kim, this is your second year, and Emily, I think this is your third year. So yeah. I really, truly appreciate that. As soon as this downloads, I will be sending you the link to this YouTube video that we've just created. I will also be sending you a PDF on how to access your portfolios, the guiding and reflective questions, as well as the complete scoring rubric, just in case you want to have that available to you. One other thing that some of our judges shared with me is that they judge all the portfolios. They'll go in and they'll judge only element A, and then they move on to B. So that's another way sometimes the teacher in me is coming out. Sometimes if you're reading an essay question, you just focus on that one element. That also helps your judging to be more consistent. Again, thank you so much. Elliot and I will be distributing portfolios on June 7th. They should be available to you on June 8th, and I would ask that you finish them by July 15th. We'll be honoring our top awardees on August 3rd, and that's when they'll find out their ranking as well. And please don't hesitate to call or email me with any questions or concerns. And again, thank you so very much.
Yeah. Thank you for doing kind of a returning judge training. I think it's helpful to have a more concise session for those that are already familiar with the system.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And actually, I'm still available if you have any further questions or any feedback for me. I know we have some quite a bit of experience here on the line judging, more than I have. So if you have any other advice like that, we did that this year to kind of make it shorter for you, because we know a lot of this stuff but then wanted to give you a refresh on where to click, just in case you lost it throughout a year. So if you have any questions or any other advice for us, we're constantly trying to improve and learn.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing the portfolios. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Kim.
All right. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Bye now.